a little bit of an experimental list. Haven't really tightened it up yet. Haven't brought it to
I
constructed queue.
think
Just been
Spore Lord
enjoying some games with
is a
viewers.
decent plan because it has it's got consistency issues a little later in
Hmm.
the game, but in the first level and the first two levels, it just hits so hard. You often win games. It was actually
Yeah,
the first Brood Queen list I experimented with was Spore Lord, and it wasn't really good, but it was pretty good. It was winning games, and I think if you build around Spore Lord a little bit more than I did, I think it's actually better. I think Spore Lord is it's like the sleeper card to come out of
hmm
set 3, and it's really underestimated, and I think it's really powerful, but it's quite underestimated, so I do think that experimenting with it is good. Also,
it does set a particular sort of limitation on what plants that they can design. If they can just be cloned.
you just copy. I mean, you can copy Leafkin.
Yep, Leafkin won, but not a leveled Leafkin. So it sort
That's
of
true.
changes your timing with that particular plant.
I guess, yeah, they have to be careful with the plants they make. That is true.
They can copy.
Which
You can copy Groot.
that's not
Yep,
a
you
good
can.
thing.
So no, actually, that's one of the things I was experimenting with, and copying Groot was really cool when I had extra plants in the discard,
When you
but
didn't.
like really useless when I didn't. So it was definitely a card where it was
Yeah.
definitely a situation where this is a very powerful effect. If I had if I was playing exclusively plants, maybe that's a list, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
cloning Torgmai is the list.
I don't know. Cloning
Yeah,
Torgmai, the Spore Lord effect of not copying stats is actually really good when you're copying fungi because they don't copy damage.
yeah.
But when copying other plants, it's a bit annoying. Like with Torgmai, you just run out of plants.
Well, you can always self-banish, can't you? Or does it not exist
No,
when
you
you...
can't self-banish if you copy it because it doesn't go back into your deck.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you just can't. You actually can run out of you can run out of plants quite quickly.
Yeah, awesome.
It's good at getting rid of It's good at getting rid of some of the Tango Sprouts, though. Like later on in the game when they're just not good. Although sometimes you still want the underlevel cards, but if like you're really late in the game, you just want to up the consistency of your deck. You can't just get rid of level 1 plants. Um, I mean, you could, in theory, if you're running if you're running Nuada in it, you could run Krogius with the Torgmai, because it's like if you're on the Nuada plan, then you use it just to get a free 7/7. But if you're not
Yeah,
on the Nuada plan, you just banish it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was the concern, is that I wasn't running Nuada, so Krogius was just mainly a liability for me.
okay, if you're not running, I mean, I can see why you wouldn't run Nuada. I'm just saying if you are on the Nuada plan,
Yeah,
it's worth it. But
I know,
I
it's
could see
just,
why not.
that's a list that has a lot of potential, but it has a good number of decision points that point you in different directions. I'm actually happy about that. In the past, I've been frustrated with the tribes as feeling a little bit sort of, um, essentially the deck being designed for you. Yetis felt that way to me for some time, and
Yeah, that's true.
Metamines felt that way for some time. But realistically, by just little additions over time, they've made some of these tribes feel a little bit more flexible, a little bit more
Oh,
designed with that tribe rather than design that tribe, tech around that tribe. It's like pick a element of that tribe that you want to emphasize.
by the way, Lotus Cobra, if you want to show your Dizzy and Sludge decks, I know some people have already seen it, but if you want to show it on stream, then link it and I'll put it up on stream. We can talk about it a little bit because I know that's a pretty good deck. But if you don't want to show it, that's fine. But if you want to get some publicity on it, then go ahead, put it in chat, and we'll bring it up. Also, on to Coxatrice. Are there any decks you've been working on?
So I spent a lot of time trying to make mobility work. A couple of streams and then some time outside of stream doing that. And I've come to the conclusion that mobility is a real thing. There are a lot of changes that needed to happen compared to what I wrote about on my article, because basically that article was just a, yay, mobility, let's do something fun.
Any cards you want to
And
bring
then,
up
like,
in particular, so I can put them on the stream?
yeah, so everyone knows about it already, but it's Doom Rider. Card is just really good. Or you could put up Frostfang Maiden, because Frostfang Maiden is, like, by far the best card in the world. Actually, the best. No,
There,
she's
there
actually
you
just the
have
best
it.
person in the world. No, she's actually just the best person in the world. And possibly, in fact, I'm just gonna go marry her. So I'll be back. No, I have a really sweet spot in my heart for that card, and it's just really cool. for me. I really like it very much.
The search engine in Solforge is annoying. I type in Frostfang, doesn't bring it up. Type in Maiden, it does.
But it's not there in your search right now.
No, it's here.
No. Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm unable to see it.
Now. You're a bit behind.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's delayed. So the mobility deck basically it uses Frostfang Maiden, it uses Ringwort Doomrider, it uses Cindersmoke Wyvern, and Stormbringer. Believe it or not, it actually tries to control the board with mobility creatures. The theory goes, if you get a couple of these mobility creatures on the board, you can remove your opponent's creatures without using a play to do it, which is removal and tempo advantage because you're attacking your opponent while you're doing this. The real problem with the deck is that once you realize what it's trying to do, effectively build a unstoppable board presence, it's really easy to stop that by just killing all of my stuff. And so the NT
by killing your stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly.
Pro
That's how you do it. Pro strats right there, guys. Please credit me in that. No. So it's really not very good against the NT removal list. Because they're running better removal than I am. Because I'm trying to do dorky mobility things, and they're just going Spite Mage, kill your thing, play a fat dude, do some other stuff, and I'm like, I can't get my dorky mobility guys to stick on the field long enough so that I can kill your shit by moving them. And Brood Queen does the same thing. When Brood Queen's played well, it just goes Brood Queen, sack some stuff, kill your thing, do some other stuff, kill your stuff. And I'm like, this is horrible. So, it's not bad. I'd classify it as tier 2. Not that really means much to me anyway. But it's non-Brood Queen. That's the thing, guys. You play it if you want to play a deck that isn't Brood Queen and get some win percentages around 65 to 70%. I think that might be able to go up, but that'd require a bit more teching and a little bit more practice and all of that kind of stuff, which you can do. Yeah, you could probably build a deck that does that, but I would argue that the matchup goes from, instead of losing 70% of the time to a good player, you only lose 65% of the time to a good player, and that's not really what you want to be playing in a meta full of Brood Queen. That being said, someone who's smarter than me, who's better at building decks than me, might find that they can do it better. And I encourage everyone to go ahead and do that. I will, if everything goes well, write an article about it and post it to Gox's Socks with a bit more of a positive bent, because it's a lot of fun to play, and I really like the deck, and I wish it was good. I just really wish that we had a card that had mobility that also killed something when it came into play. That would just make the deck insane, and of course probably make it a mobility format, which I'd be okay with, but everyone else would probably start ranting about it like they're ranting about Brood Queen, so it probably ain't gonna happen.
I don't know. But anyway, I just got the Life Queen deck from Lotus Cobra in chat, so I'll bring it up on screen.
That's a cool deck. I've lost to that with mobility. I have lost to that with Brood Queen as well.
So
good deck.
This is Life Queen. Let's see if I can get it in the right place, since I wasn't intending on putting anything up here. This is Life Queen. I can't see the name of the deck, but you can see most of it. So, this is Lotus Cobra's brew, and this is a deck I've heard a lot about, although I haven't actually seen the list yet. So it's cool to see this. So these are on pop-ups. They are, but they're also completely off the screen, so I'm not going to do that. So we've got Doom Rider, yeah, that's understandable, 3 Brood Queen, 3 Dire Hound, and then this is where it gets interesting. 3 Arborist. That's always a good start to a 4-0 worthy list, isn't it? 3 Dizzy and Sludge. I actually think Dizzy and Sludge is the main reason to be above 100 life at the moment, as opposed to Arborist, but that's just me. Then we've got... yeah, because, I mean, it's Ether Hound that removes 2 guys and is bigger if you're above 100 life. Basically, Dizzy and Sludge... sorry,
Dizzy and Sludge.
Yeah, if I can get this thing set. No, it's just not going to pop up. Alright, I'm going to try and get Dizzy and Sludge up on Solforge. But basically, Dizzy and Sludge was a card that I actually went over on my set review, and I was like, this card is awesome. I don't know where it goes, like what shell it goes in, but the card is really powerful. The reason it was kind of confusing to figure out a shell for is because it's a card that rewards life gain by being aggressive. So you're kind of like trying to go through the thought process there, and you're thinking, what? Like, it's an aggressive card that goes in a life gain deck. That's like a non-compute type thing. But it turns out there is a shell that works with it. And the reason I really like it is simply because if it isn't above 100 life, it's not useless. It's still pretty good. It still blocks for 6, and then 13, and then 20. So it'll kill most things. I might just remove things sometimes when you play it. But it gets really nuts when you get 2 of them. Because then a level 3 Dizzy and Sludge above 100 life is 2 15/15s that do 5. They give like Zithian Direhound triggers to 2 different guys. That is crazy.
Yeah, the debuffs actually add up.
Nuts. So,
Yeah, it's a really good card. Like, I think anyone with like 2 eyeballs and a brain can figure out that that's a good card. But it's only really good if you get the trigger, which is the main way you can beat it. I don't think that Life Gain deck has any hope against any of the AT list, but hey, meta's Brood Queen right now, so maybe. I haven't played it.
I'm still gonna. I mean, it's still a Brood Queen deck, so I'm still gonna beat you with my 29 attack level 2 Devourers, but that's just the thing.
Maybe. I haven't played enough Devourer to know. I only own 1, which
really
is
strong.
sad.
It's really strong. Anyway, rest of the stuff got Oros, obviously, because nothing uses Oros better than a life gain deck, let's be honest here. Then we've got Aetherphage as a 2-of. I think I would like to see Aetherphage maybe as a 3-of. I think 2 is okay, but it's a bit risky, because it's like, Aetherphage is not bad against Brood Queen, because it actually kills on-level Brood Queens, so they have to remove it instead of another threat on your board, if they want to save their Brood Queen. So it often is a threat against Brood Queen, and you can also pull out the removal spell that they were going to use, or Varna's Pact, to easily sacrifice something. So I actually find it's a lot better in the mirror than people give it credit for. And the problem with running 2 is that if you run against Stasis Warden or just an AT deck in general, you're thinking, oh my god, why am I running 2 Aetherphages? Like, you just... Because if I was running 3, he'd be dead. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I've had a very mixed relationship with Aetherphage. It's done a lot of good things for me, it's done a lot of bad things for me. I'm still on the fence about it. I think I'm still leaning towards it's not as good as people are giving it credit for. It's still too much hype. But I'm starting to soften now that I played it in Brood Queen itself. So,
I mean, yeah, it's
interesting. It's interesting to note this list only has 2 cards that actively give you health: Vyric's Embrace and Oros.
Spirit Broom Dryad, dude. The 6/7.
Oh, Spirit Broom Dryad. Yeah. Hang on, I thought that was the one-off tech in your list that Hectares gave you. But no, you're right. That actually gives you life as well. So
that's Lifeblood Dryad. Spirit Blood Dryad is the giant underdrop that gives you life, which is, I mean, 6/7 is pretty large. It's a decent card. I mean, I would say that Vyric's Embrace is where you really want to be at as far as life gain goes, and since you're only running very few spells, you can't really go for the Crypt Conjurer, so you have to go for Dryad. So I think I'm fine with that. The other thing is Dizzy and Siphon actually stops a lot of damage coming in, which means you don't take. It means you don't take a bunch of extra damage, basically. So you just minus his guy, plus your guy, get a favorable trade, and then you take way less damage, and it means you can actually get more. That's why Vyric's Embrace is so good. It doesn't actually heal for 4, it heals for 8, effectively. Because you minus it on that turn as well.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Lotus Cobra's chiming up in here, and he's the creator of the deck, so I just want to read out some of his comments. He says AT is not difficult in my experience. Well, he'd know better than me about that, so I'm entirely willing to accept that. He thinks that 3 Aetherphage is too many. He played with 3 for a bit, and he had Shard originally, but it's apparently too greedy. So, yeah. Also, someone wanted to know, I think it was not a Meth, wanted to know how many set 3 cards are in the deck, and the answer is 14 out of 30, which is 46% of the decks.
That math.
Yeah, I'm hopeful I got the math right. I may have got it wrong, because I just noticed there's only 2 fighters. Right, so it might actually be 13 out of 30. It might be 13 out of 30, I'm not sure. I have to count it again to make sure.
It's nice to see Lotus Cobra actually chiming in here, since this is his deck. So if he says that 3 Aetherphage is fine, I mean, if your AT matchup is not that good, I mean, not that good for the AT player, like, if he actually finds it difficult to stop the aggro, then I could definitely say 2 Aetherphages is enough. But if you're having issues with ATs particularly, I would say that 3 Aetherphages don't really hurt you. but it does help that matchup a lot. So yeah, but the rest of the deck is actually the double Ferocious Roar as opposed to 3. I actually kind of like, because Ferocious Roar, it's really nice to have it when you want it. However, in a deck like this, you've got too many cards you need to run, so you have to cut a Roar somewhere. And it's understandable why he's cut the Roar there. He's also cut a Doom Rider and a Aetherphage. So it's basically he's cutting the card he doesn't really need in some of his matchups. He's got Doom Rider because 3 Doom Riders can be really awkward at times. And also the Roar because this deck is not as reliant on Roar as a lot of the other NU decks. So I really do like this list actually.
Yeah, I think it's sweet. It's one of the lists I'd like to try and play, but there isn't really so many competitive tournaments for me to enter at the moment, so I'm kind of focusing more on draft.
Also, those
sludges.
I
don't get.
Them.
Them sludges. I have 2. I think 2 is enough. Like, you don't have to play an optimal list in the queue a lot of the time. I think you can play a slightly suboptimal list and you'll be okay.
That's fair enough. But the sludge is, I think, the real powerhouse in this.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, so just before you say anything, if anyone has any questions, we're going into Q&A soon, so put your questions down now. Hecht, could you monitor that since Cox is going to be talking about it?
Sure thing, no problem.
So if you have any questions, put a Q and then a colon and then put the question in, and if they're for a certain person, just put a hashtag and then the name.
Yep. And guys, if you put any questions in earlier, I did write them down, but my computer restarted, so I lost them. So you have to ask the questions again if you ask them. I don't remember who it was, but someone did.
That computer.
Yeah. That's something I need to fix. I think it's a heat-related problem, but that's all irrelevant. I'll talk to my IT Al, later. Also, there's a question that we have from last stream that I missed, which was Pac-Man Ninjas, and we should go over that. So,
okay.
But I'll talk about what I was going to talk about first. There was a question a little earlier in the chat about Varna's Pack and the Direhound. For those of you who don't know, there's currently a known bug that can't be fixed until Apple basically approves the update to the game, which means that when you play a Zithian Direhound, because it's an overload card, it goes to the graveyard section of the game immediately when you play it because it gets banished, and then when it dies, it goes there again. So you effectively get 2 Direhounds in the graveyard with Varna's Pact, which means that Varna's Pact has a higher chance of getting Direhounds, and it also means you can play Direhound, play Varna's Pact, get a second Direhound, 2 triggers on the second turn, and instead of banishing 2 cards from your deck, you've actually got a Direhound and a Varna's Pact leveled. So it's actually a really powerful interaction, and there is a lot of speculation from what I can tell that combination is making the Brood Queen deck a bit stronger. Now that I've played with the Brood Queen deck a bit, I can say that Zithian Direhound is a strong card by itself, Varna's Pact is a strong card by itself, and I don't think that makes a huge difference
it doesn't make
to
a massive
the deck.
Difference. I mean, I play without Pact. That's partly because I don't have the Pacts I need, and also I'm greedy enough to cart Tarsus. So that's just me. But I actually think I've played against it a lot, and I can safely say it feels obnoxious. It is kind of. I think, to be honest, I'm okay with overload cards going to the graveyard, but what I'm not okay with is that they go to the graveyard twice. That's the part of that interaction where I'm like, that's not right. That's just not right.
Yeah, so the bug part is when you play it, it gets banished, and that sends it to the graveyard zone once, and then when it dies, it goes again. So when it dies, it should go to the graveyard. That's correct. That's actually like a known thing that Stoneblade said, this is the correct way it happens. It's just that first time it goes to the graveyard at the moment is actually a bug. Yeah. And it's something they've recognized they need to fix, but they need a client update to fix it, which means they need to wait on Apple because all the clients have to be synchronized.
Exactly.
As for the actual bug itself, look, I think it is affecting top tier play at the moment, and I think that the Varna's Pact version of Brood Queen is probably the more powerful one. I'm going to reference Gotta BKD here. In the last episode of The Forge, done by Tiny Grimes, he was playing against Waxor, and he was saying that he ran a very high variance list of Brood Queen, which included the Varna's Pact and Nether Skill Shrieks and Nether Shrieks. And he was saying that this higher variance version of the deck is better in some situations and worse in others. But one of the things that it does utilize is that kind of Zithian Direhound interaction, and that it's possible that more lists would be the more consistent and reliable version, which plays Wayward Patriarchs and stuff like that, if that bug didn't exist. I'm not sure whether he mentioned that exactly, but that was certainly the inference that I got from it. And I'd like to point out that if he's playing that Varnus Pack list, he may not be playing that Varnus Pack list without the bug. And if he's one of the top Solforge players in the world right now, so I would go ahead and say that it's making an impact, but it's not a big one. And I think that the only way we'll know is when the bug gets fixed. Does anyone know whether that bug's going to still exist for the Forge World Invitational qualifier? Hectares, do you know that?
Okay, so just to clarify some of what's being talked about, because I think referencing it as a bug is a little bit of a misnomer at this point.
The bug bit is that it happens twice. That's the bug.
I'm not sure what exactly you're talking about. What I will say is I'm looking forward to further explanation or further clarification of what Stoneblade's plans are with this. They've made sort of vague references to what's happening, or specific references, but just not the full timeline, because we don't because it's not known by them, to my understanding. So when they know, until they know, just assume it's going to work the way it does currently, and then when they make an announcement, that's when you'll know what to expect from there. But until then, just go with what it currently is, and not necessarily what it currently says on the card text, but what you understand from keeping up with the community.
So just a little bit of an update there. When Secrets of Solace was released, they did an issues post talking about some of the issues that they had, and then they were talking about fixing it. And one of the individual card issues that was highlighted was Varnus Pact can currently return creatures that have been banished, in addition to those that have been destroyed or replaced. That is a bug that they then... I'll link you if you want, Heck. Actually, I'll link the chat so that everyone can see it. And that is the post that has the bug listed on there, Varnus Pact, and then they did an update post which said card data re-enabled for online games, and I'll post that into chat as well. And it says, note, Varnus Pact still currently return creatures that have been banished, in addition to those that have been destroyed or replaced. Which implies that it is a bug, and it's something they're working on. Yeah. So, potentially it's a... I read that in a specific way, and that way might be wrong. I'm more than happy to say it's wrong, if Stoneblade comes back and says that it's wrong. But I read that to say that it's a bug, it's something that they want to fix, and it's something that they have to fix later, maybe. I really don't have enough information, so I'm going to leave it there, because I've probably speculated too much already. So I apologize if I've said anything wrong there. I don't have complete information, and probably shouldn't have been talking about it so long.
Alright, so we've got 10 minutes for questions. First one I'm just going to catch because I saw it, which is the air velocity of an unladen swallow. An African swallow I do not know, but a European swallow is 24 miles an hour.
Nice.
Holy grail. Best thing ever. But anyway, so Heck, do you want to list off some of the questions you've got? I
haven't seen too many actual questions. We have gotten some flavor questions from the audience here, but one of the first questions was this was directed at Lotus, to my understanding, but it was, what would you sub for one sludge, and this is just related to the Lifeblood Life Queen list, and it was a third Doom Rider or maybe one Lotus or something. So no specific recommendation, just a sort of flex slot if you don't have a third sludge for that list. After that, it was why aren't there more trolling in the show? I think there's a demand for more interactivity here, but
a demand for more trolls.
Demand for more trolls.
I did just kappa. I did not realize I was talking about things I didn't know enough about, so I got distracted trying to sound intelligent when I probably shouldn't have. What is my favorite Christmas movie? No, I'm not going to answer that because I don't know any Christmas movies. I don't watch them. What cards do you want to play in 3 of in Constructed? Frostfang Maiden. Gnomes. Give me a deck with Frostfang Maiden and Gnomes in it, and I'll be happy.
Epidemic. Cold the Week. Brood Queen. That's my 3.
Yup. That's fair.
Can you make
Are there
my
any
deck
other?
better? We can
Why
try.
can't I type?
We can
OG
try, my good
Silvertail.
sir.
I'm pretty sure OG Silvertail. You've got your own solution there in the question. Can you make my deck better? All right, let's have a look at that. You only have one killing.
I've got it up on stream. So it is an
Oh, sweet.
AU deck that is level based, from what I can tell. It's called Ridiculous AU. Alright, so first things first, I would say is that if you're trying to do some sort of leveling plan, I wouldn't run Lycian Shard because you've got seals. Like, if you're doing full leveling plan, you've got seals, you have Warmonger mods, Lycian Shard just feels like massive overkill. Because then you're trying to be aggressive in player level 1 while also being aggressive in your leveling. So it's like a weird disconnect. The other thing I would say is that you don't have enough ways of actually leveling the Iron Maidens. Like, if you draw 2 Iron Maidens, it is not actually possible for you to level both of them without screwing over one of your rank 1 plays and rank 2 plays. So you need ways of actually getting rid of these Iron Maidens and leveling them, because you really don't want the level 1 or 2 if you can avoid them.
Your deck needs more Frostfang Maiden. That is the correct thing to do. Just change colors into Frostfang Maiden.
But no, in all seriousness, I do think that it's just like, you're trying to be aggressive while also being level based, so what I would do is either keep the aggressive side of it and go full into that with either some battle techs or like heal bugs or things like that, or Experience Steel Plate, is that what they're called? Yeah. And strategists, or go into the leveling plan and and when you get more kill-ins, since I'm assuming you only have 1, then you can try the leveling plan, get 3 kill-ins, and sort of replace Lycian Shards with maybe something else that's a little more kilter to that plan. So, I like the idea, I just think that you're trying to do a little too much at once. So, take one of the 2 ideas, either take the Utera half of it or take the Aloyan half of it and sort of try and work with that, because they don't really work together at the moment, you just don't have the cards you need to make them gel.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the goal is here. Is it to make the deck more fun?
It's just
or is it to make it a competitive deck? If it's to make it a competitive deck, make it better. A non-troll response is probably to cut the cards that are underperforming and to play more of the cards or acquire more cards that do the things that you want to do. So as you're playing the deck, in whatever queue you're playing it, just notice which cards you don't like playing or aren't giving you a good effect, and cut those ones and try and replace them with cards that are similar to the ones that are doing well for you or that bring something new to the deck, and then keep experimenting until you get to a list you like.
That's so classic. I'm like saying, it's like, alright, so you want to do is kind of this kind of thing and try this kind of thing, and then we get the Cox response, which is like, alright, so you want to cut the cards that you don't like, you want to add more cards that you do like, and go forward.
That's essentially my deck building process. What I do is I take some Frostfang Maidens, and then I add some Frostfang Maidens, and then I try and find as many Frostfang Maidens as I can, and then I take away all the things that aren't Frostfang Maidens.
How many Frostfang Maidens is enough?
There is not a number. The correct number of Frostfang Maidens cannot be known.
30 Frostfangs.
No. Because at some point, Frostfang Maiden hits critical mass, and then starts to soulbind itself into your deck, and so you actually end up with a deck full of Frostfang Maidens that is larger than 30. And that's good, that's correct. That is probably the correct amount of Frostfang Maidens.
Never-ending Frostfang Maidens. Like,
why are zombies so bad? Zombies are bad, Silvertail, because they don't share a color with Frostfang Maiden. But mainly they're bad because they don't beat anything except for Brood Queen. Even then, they don't beat the good Brood Queen players.
Is this like a hashtag Frostfang Maiden thing?
I've just Frostfang Maiden. In fact, I've Coxfang Maiden this cast.
You're worse than Hecht with Hydras.
Hey, I like mobility, alright?
Yeah, I know, but it's like the Hydra train goes past every single time Hector's streaming, and it's like, hey, I'm drafting. Let's get Hydra, 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 and just play all the Hydras.
What cards in top level decks do you want them to play against me?
I'm
I
guessing it's
don't.
for the Invitational.
I'm not sure I understand the question, but I think this is one of the more serious questions we've seen so far.
It's
But
basically, I think it's related to the Invitational, especially probably. Like
Yeah.
what kind of cards are you happy to play against? I guess.
well, I don't want to play against Stasis Warden. That's a given for me, and I don't want to play against Kitfinity. That is a given for me. I don't want to play against. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing against gnomes at this point because Etherphage is a possibility, so it's really risky for them to run it. But other than those three, I pretty much don't care.
Okay.
I just don't enjoy playing against those lists in general. To have the feel of those decks. Yetis used to feel that way to me, so it's not something that it sticks that way. But in terms of cards I would like to see, stuff like Dozer, I would like to see a lot of the set 3 stuff.
I want
Top
Dozer.
level players
I don't
should get
have
those cards.
Dozers. I don't have the other 2 Dozers. I need to make a Sleepy Bear deck.
I think a Dozer deck will do alright. Somebody who's been perfecting that list will probably do alright in the Invitational. I would love to face off against that deck and see how I respond. I haven't had any. I've had one viewer challenge with those Dozers, but I haven't.
Yeah, I
faced
saw that game. I saw
you.
that game. It was Was it
So-
Turkus? No,
No.
that was on
Tiny Stream.
Tiny Stream. Yeah, Turkus was playing a
Yeah, I heard
dozy
he-
Sleepy Bear list.
He beat some Tiny with that list.
Yeah. Oh wow, there's a bunch of questions now. Did any of you play in
So-
the Core Blade meta? And does Brood Queen? I actually do know quite a bit about this, and to be honest, it doesn't, because unlike Core Blade, it's not all the same cards. Like you're actually playing. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know, Core Blade was a archetype in Magic that completely dominated everything and was like. It was like 16 copies in every top 16 almost, and it was really, really, really overpowered, and eventually it was removed by some bannings. I don't think Brood Queen is that bad, because all the Brood Queen lists, even though they are as common as Core Blade was, most Brood Queen lists are very, very different. So it doesn't feel as restrictive.
I think that it's a pretty good comparison, and I think the reason for that is because the good players, like, it's all going to come down to this Forge Watch Invitational. If this Forge Watch Invitational is 16 Brood Queen players, then we'll know that, yeah, it's like the Core Blade meta. But it won't matter because new colors will come out anyway and it'll all change. But the problem with Core Blade meta was the best way to beat Core Blade was to play Core Blade and be better than your opponent. It was not to tech against Core Blade, it was just to play Core Blade and play it better. And I think Brood Queen is the same. I think Brood Queen, if you play Brood Queen and you're better than your opponent, you will win more often, and that makes it the same in my eyes. But I'm not an expert.
I mean,
I don't have a win rate over 70%, so I can't really say that with any kind of certainty.
It's like, I don't have a win rate that qualifies me to say this. Are there any this is specifically for me actually, are there any overrated cards in the format? If I had to pick overrated cards, I would probably say, I'm gonna get so much hate for this, Tarsus. I think Tarsus is nowhere near as powerful as some people think it is in the Brood Queen deck. It does some nifty things, but it's not, like, it's more, the reason it's good is because of Varnus Pact a lot of the time, not because of the fact that it has Lotus support and things like that. I actually think that the reason it's good is because of Varnus Pact, not so much the other interactions in the deck. So if you're not running Varnus Pact, I wouldn't run Tarsus just for the sake of Brood Queen. Like, if I was running a card just for the sake of Brood Queen, I'd run, like, Weird Patriarch. So that's my answer to that.
One of the questions in chat was the same question that we missed last time, so I'm just going to take a special moment to mention that. Pac-Man Ninja said, would a Soulbind non-legendary make a draft different in Tempest? And basically what he's saying is the only faction that has not got a Soulbind at Heroic is Tempest. Instead it's got Iztech. if we had that Soulbind in Tempest, would it make a big difference? What do you guys think?
It depends what the card is completely.
I actually agree with you. I know I've spent this entire podcast disagreeing with you, but I actually agree with that.
Yes, success. We agree on something.
We can make it. We can do this thing.
We can agree that a card only affects something if it does something that affects it.
So yeah, unfortunately the answer is kind of boring, Pac-Man Ninja. It is Hectares, unless you have a different answer.
The answer is that it depends if they made it matter. Is that what we're settling on?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's what we're settling on. I just wanted to check.
You know,
I agree.
That sounds accurate. I mean, I would say that if Stoneblade sees an opportunity to do something like that, maybe they'll take advantage of it. Maybe it's already designed and they're just like waiting to release it for you guys. So hopefully it's something really good if it does end up existing.
Yeah. Is tech terrible or terrible? I would actually take option C, which is powerful.
That's probably right. I've seen it do some fun, exciting things, but I again have not. This isn't one of those cards like people don't have it yet. We haven't seen what people want to do with it yet.
You need 3. You can't play without 3. If you have 1, it's unplayable. If you have 2, it's sketchy at best. And if you have 3, it's really strong, and there's still consistency issues. But the point is you can't play without 3. That's the main thing.
The spells seem interesting. Like really, the Soulbind spells seem high power, good opportunity. If you find a way to get to those cards at the time that you want them, seems like a good strategy.
I like it the most as a replacement to Master of Elements in the Invoker decks.
It would be interesting if you could go Perilous Insight into Overloads and like clear 3 cards from your deck with 1 play. That's not that doesn't work that way, but maybe there's something where you could like remove your banish your whole hand, banish a full hand worth of cards, and suddenly have the consistent that you pushes you closer to your normal deck size.
Cox, before you say anything, since you responded to this, what I mean by replacing the Master of Elements was actually not my idea. It was a couple of other things. It was more of a case of trying to figure out whether or not Master of Elements was worth it, because if you're running Iztec and also want to run Killian and things like that, then often Master of Elements that can't hit a lot of the spells you want to play, and it also just takes too long to play it sometimes. So it's something which people have been trying out. I don't really know, because I don't tend to play Invoker solo decks. I've just dabbled in them a little bit, but it is something that has come up a little bit.
As far as I know, Master of Elements was cut from Invoker decks a while ago. That might just be the list I'm thinking. What I will say about Iztec is that it's not exciting to me, because I am excited about Groot, and I want Groot to exist in all factions. I want there to be a card that does something like... Yeah. I just want Banish. Give me more Banish. Please, Stoneblade. Make my decks more consistent.
Banish
I love you.
Give something -3, -3, -5, -5, -7, -7. There you go.
Okay, well...
Groot stats. Call it X-Wrath's pet.
Jotto designing cards.
Jotto designing cards.
Jotto
I really wanted a Loyan one. That's what I want. I want to be able to banish my non-gnomes so I can play more gnomes. That would be
drawing cards.
Give it mobility and the ability to draw cards, and I'm all over like a fat kid on a cupcake. I'm all over that.
It's a gargoyle that's bigger. It's like an Ebon Skull Knight gargoyle. And then if you banish your robot, it gets the gargoyle stuff.
Yes!
Balanced. Completely balanced card. Nothing wrong with it.
And then when you rank up, it gets +8/+8. No, I'm just being an idiot now. There was a question in here. Are there any cards that you want that you don't own?
Gnomes.
Yeah, gnomes for you too. There's like a ton of set 2 cards that I really want that I quit playing like just as set 2 was released, and then I started playing again just as set 2 was ending. Just, life happened. It wasn't like a decision to quit or anything. I didn't rage quit. It was just like, eh. And, there's like, Scataspore Eidolon is the one that I just keep coming back to. I just have none of them, and I want to play some in a Brew Queen list. True. I think it's really strong.
I played Ebon Skulls. I tried Ebon Skull instead of it, and it felt like it did something similar, but then I ended up cutting Ebon Skull's for Lotuses. But that's just personal preference, as I said. Eidolon is an amazing card, especially if you're running the packed Tarsus version.
I just want to play. I just want to play Hectares list. I just want to like jump on the Hectares train and choo that to victory. That's all I want to do.
We need to make it into a double Hectares train. The train gets longer every time someone jumps on it.
Oh god.
You talking about the sluts list? I mean the Brood Queen list?
Yeah, the one you're
on. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The one with a million one-offs.
Wasn't sure if you meant my AU Flex list that also features a Scatterspore.
Well, yeah, that list too. That was another one of the reasons why I want Scatterspore in one, but that's less relevant because it's one.
It's an interesting card. I was happy to finally acquire. It took me a long time to acquire. It was one of the last ones I actually completed to place it up in set 3. So
I'm pretty sure Not a Method is the most cynical person I've ever seen in chat. Like he's gone past my levels, which is very impressive actually. He's just said banish inconsistency is a dangerous design space.
I think it's really exciting.
Diversity.
I think it's exciting. Like if you're designing a card game and you're playing a card game and you're not pushing the boundaries and making it, if you're not getting into that dangerous territory, what's the point? Have that, like, embrace it. And if things are broken, well, it's a digital game. You can fix them. It's not the end of the world.
And that's what list, by the way, that AU list.
The list has not been updated for set 3. Hydra may or may not make the cut. It's got Ravenous Hydra would be the consideration over any other.
Okay.
Ravenous Hydra, is that the one with Breakthrough?
Breakthrough. It's a breakthrough dependent list. That's the card that would get considered first. If I were putting in a Hydra. I don't think a Hydra makes the cut though.
I love the flavor in Ravenous Hydra, by the way. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you buff it, and eventually it just rolls over you. That's where it gets Breakthrough from. It just has too many heads, it becomes a bowl.
Sure.
There's a lot of cool cards we could design, but I feel like we've kind of run out of topics. Will there be a set 3.1 from Empoitress? Nobody knows, but the hype train says probably.
Nobody knows.
I don't want to give out incorrect information. I have it under pretty good authority that I didn't know what I was talking about when I was talking about.
I do know there will be cards in it. There will be cards in set 3.1. That's what I do know.
Yep.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I don't say, like, yes, this is... Because apparently I was wrong about Zithian Direhound and Mana's Pact, so...
Set 4 confirmed, guys. Set 4 confirmed.
Yeah, they will release cards. I'm pretty sure they'll release more cards.
Like,
that's
we got a spoiler. The first spoiler they release is a card and it does something.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa,
I'm excited. That's the first card I want to acquire.
It has text. Or maybe it doesn't.
Whoa.
Maybe it might be a vanilla card. You never know, actually. It has numbers on it.
It has a name.
Yeah, it has a name.
Actually, just total segue. I'm really looking forward to the time when Stoneblade goes, okay, guys, here's an 8/8 with no downside at level 1, and then at level 2 it's a 1/1. And then it doesn't level from there. I'm just really looking forward to that. Yeah, I know, but it's like, that is...
That's just a worse Eidolon.
I think that kind of design space is something they need to examine. Like, having a card that is, like, really good at first player level and then gets worse as you level it.
I think what I would like is, instead of something like that, have something where it's like, it's good at all levels, but it has the reverse bound effect. So it's like, if you play it as an underdrop, it's terrible. That is a cool design space. So it's like, if you play the level 1 and level 2, it's like a 1/1, and if you play the level 2 and level 3, it's a 1/1. But they're really good when they're on level.
That would be worse than the 9/9 that doesn't level. Lotus Cobra is saying my card sucks. It's fine.
Does. An 8/8, it's like, hey, Scatterspore Eidolon, here's your 1/1 friend.
It's an example, bro. It's an example, guys. So I'm excited by the idea that they could do, like, this is a level 1 card, and then instead of turning into a level 2 card, it levels into a -1 card. Level -1 card.
Alright, we need a Utera card. The next Overload Utera card needs to be a 9/9 at level 1.
Why?
Because
fair enough.
Zithian Direhound, but instead 9/9s. And the Tempest one needs to be an aggressive 10/1 or something.
So the Overload Utera card is a 6/6 that when it comes into play, it gives creature +3/+3, right?
I guess, yeah.
That'd be really good. I'm just gonna put it out there. That's really good. There is not a meth addict is saying he's honest and sincere. People call him a troll, but he don't know as much a streamer as anyone else. If it comes off as angry, I apologize. We'll never get very passionate. I don't think you should worry, not a meth addict. You're absolutely fine.
It's nothing bad about it. No, I
No,
said you were cynical. That's not a bad thing. I'm cynical. I'm like one of the most cynical people I know.
Jotto, we're back to disagreeing again. I think everyone in chat is fantastic. None of them are cynical, and we're all wonderful. Should all dance away in a land of happiness. Where which is God. I'm not a sucker. I speak from the heart, okay?
I step out of the conversation when this is happening. I just like sit back and enjoy myself because this is entertainment for me. It's distractingly good entertainment for
Friday
me.
Friday morning, you get to like listen to Jotto. And
I wake up, I come in, I
stuff.
hang out, talk a little bit, and then I just sit back and watch the show at the end of this thing. This is great fun.
Well, I'm glad we're entertaining you. We're probably entertaining other people as well.
I should hope so.
Yeah. But no, like seriously, I don't really care what anyone says in chat. You can be positive, you can be negative, and I'm gonna always see it as the most positive thing it can be. That's just who I am. I'm positive, and I want everyone in my chat and everyone who interacts with me to be positive as well. So even when I'm saying something that's negative, I want to try and say it in the most positive way. I want to interpret it in the most positive way, and I think pretty much everyone appreciates that kind of positivity, and like no one complains in my stream. Like everyone seems to be pretty happy, and even in this stream, like everyone's mentioning stuff, and we're all really passionate.
Yeah,
to make,
it's good to discuss things.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, it doesn't need to be negative, and there's no reason to see it as negative. I don't think not a meth addict. I don't think anyone in that is.
It's
You know,
like-
I'm gonna do my Coxatrice impression. Hold on. I got it.
Screw you, bro.
I got there.
Got this. You don't
We
got
did
this.
it. We got him.
This is unforgettable. You can never match. The
Now, I
Coxatrice.
think that is a fairly decent note to end on. We've got sunglasses mirrors going on here. Anyway,
the sunglass mirror.
anyway, thanks
So,
for watching, everyone. By the way,
Oh, if we want any other questions,
oh my
think it
god.
when you post.
I'm
no.
gonna end it there for myself. If you guys
Yeah.
continue,
No,
I got it.
I'm gonna end off here. So thanks all for watching. We'll be doing this every week. Next week it might be an hour later. It depends on my schedule particularly. So maybe an hour later than last week. But we're gonna keep doing this every week. Any feedback is appreciated. There's a Reddit post which you can put comments in. I'll be keeping track of that. But anyway, as for now, this is Jotto, Cox, and Hectares signing off for the day.
Thanks, guys. Don't forget to follow all of us. We rock. I'll put that in chat. Also, be awesome. Keep being who you are. Don't ever stop. Awesome. And rock the sunglasses. Always rock the sunglasses.
Alright, see you guys.